and here is my sweet cream or sweet corn casserole. I got 14 little circles out of this. Oh my gosh, that's 2 teaspoons of cinnamon. And here we are. I didn't think it was gonna pop out that easily. I gotta get to chopping those onions. And you know what I forgot on my plate? A piece of sausage. Putting this on top. And oh my gosh, these are delicious. Isn't that cute? And there, that's the finished one. I wish I had videotaped in there. Howdy everyone, this is Tricia, Texas Lady, and welcome to my channel. Today I'll be making a creamy Chipotle chicken. It is very easy with some simple ingredients, and I'll be showing those to you right now. Alright, I've got my hot pan going here, and I'm going to add some olive oil, just enough to coat the bottom. It's about a tablespoon of olive oil. And then I will add my chicken thighs to that. You can remove any of the fat on this if you don't want that on there. You can also season these before placing them in there. If you want to marinate them, that would be awesome too. And again, like I said, you could use chicken breast if you don't want to use chicken thighs. Got one more. And I want these to brown about 5 minutes on each side, so I'm going to leave these. I'm going to cover them up for a little bit. Let them cook for 5 minutes. Uncover, turn them over, cover them again, cook them for another 5 minutes, and make sure they're well cooked before I pull them out. So it's going to take about 10 minutes, and we'll be back. Alright, so I've got all my ingredients laid out. This is what you will need. You will need a package of some chicken thigh fillets. These are skinned and deboned. Now you can use chicken breast if you prefer to use that. I'm using chicken thigh because I just wanted something different and it was on sale, so what a great deal. Okay, so that's what I'm going to use. There's about 4 or 5 of these chicken thighs in here in case you're wondering, and it is about 2 pounds. The next thing that you'll need is 8 ounces of sour cream. You can use a crema fresca, which is a creme fraiche or a fresh cream, or if you want to opt for some Philadelphia cream cheese, you can use that, but I'm going to be using sour cream. You'll need a small can of tomato sauce. This is an 8-ounce can of tomato sauce, just your whatever brand you want to use. You'll also need a small can of chipotle peppers. These are jalapenos that have been roasted, and they are in a chipotle sauce, so you want to get those that have the sauce in there. You will also need some unsalted chicken broth, and you're going to need about a cup of this. Also some unsalted butter. You'll need about a tablespoon of unsalted butter. If you want to use regular butter, you can go right ahead and do so. I'm using a lot of unsalted items for my husband's benefit. You will also need to use a chopped onion. Now, if you don't like onion, you can go ahead and leave this out. But I'm going to chop up about half of this onion, and I'm going to chop up about 2 cloves of garlic. I will also need some salt. I will need some black pepper or white pepper if that's what you prefer to use. Cumin. This is ground comino, ground cumin. If you don't like the cumin, you can go ahead and leave that out. You can replace some ingredients with seasonings also with the things that you like. I'm going to be using granulated garlic powder. I'm not using the garlic salt. Again, I'm cutting out on salt, so that's why I'm not going to be using that. And I'm going to be adding just my little bit of salt while I cook my chicken. And I'm going to need some olive oil for cooking. You can use your vegetable oil, your sunflower oil, whatever cooking oil you prefer to use. I believe this sums up all my ingredients. I want to go ahead and get this chicken cooking in my pan, so let's get to doing that. Alright, I've got my hot pan going here, and I'm going to add some olive oil, just enough to coat the bottom. It's about a tablespoon of olive oil. And then I will add my chicken thighs to that. You can remove any of the fat on this if you don't want that on there. You can also season these before placing them in there. If you want to marinate them, that would be awesome too. And again, like I said, you could use chicken breast if you don't want to use chicken thighs. Got one more. And I want these to brown about 5 minutes on each side. So I'm going to leave these. I'm going to cover them up for a little bit. Let them cook for 5 minutes. Uncover, turn them over, cover them again. Cook them for another 5 minutes. And make sure they're well cooked before I pull them out. So it's going to take about 10 minutes. And we'll be back. Alright, so I've turned my chicken and I'm letting it cook for about another 4 minutes, 3 or 4 minutes, because it has already been cooking for about 2 minutes now. I have gone ahead and I have chopped up my onions and my garlic. I had a pretty nice big piece of garlic, so I only chopped up 1 clove, but if they're small pieces, go ahead and chop up 2 of them. My onion was kind of a medium-sized onion, and I chopped up half of that. So if you're wondering how much of that I'm using, that is the amount. It's about a cup of onions, really, is what that is. That kind of gives you an idea. You can use less, you can use more, depending on how you like your onions. Now, I've opened up my chipotle peppers, and these are, again, they're roasted jalapenos, and they're in this adobo sauce, as you can see here. And I don't want to really waste that adobo sauce, so I'm going to cut these on my cutting board here, but I'm going to, first, I need to get them out of the little can. There we go. And I want to chop these up a bit. And there's one more piece in there. So just pull them all out. Oh, there's one more piece. I'm trying to get as much of that sauce off of them because I'm going to be using that sauce in my chicken as well. But I'm going to take these pieces and I'm just going to chop them up with my knife. I'm holding on to them with my fork because basically I don't want to get my fingers dirty. I don't know how many times I've already washed them. So I'm just holding on to them while I just roughly chop these peppers. Okay, and I can just go ahead and pour this back into my little can there and just reserve it to the side. Because I think my chicken is going to be done now. I know 4 minutes haven't gone by, but it's getting pretty close. Just keep checking your chicken. So what I'm going to do is, okay, so I've chopped up all of this as well as I can and as much as I want to. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and also pull out that chicken from my pan, and I'm going to either shred it up or cube it. So that's up to you what you want to do with your chicken. So let's get to doing that now. Okay, I've put all my chipotle back into the little can where it came in, and I've put my onions and my garlic into separate little bowls. And I didn't even bother to clean up my cutting board. The chipotle sauce that remains on there will be picked up by this chicken. These are the chicken thighs that I cooked. They took about 8 minutes. I said 5 minutes and 5 minutes, which was 10, but it really was 4 and 4 or 5 and 4. So it was about 8 or 9 minutes to cook. Now these will cook some more, so don't get upset if you think, oh, that chicken should have cooked a little bit longer. Now, when you cook your chicken, you're going to cook it to your specifications. Just make sure, you know, it is well cooked, especially when we're talking about chicken. This is an approximation of what it's taken me to cook my chicken. Now, this is all well done. I've already looked at it. It's all cooked. I don't want to overcook it because I don't want a dry chicken or an overcooked chicken. So this is going to get cooking a little bit more when I do some simmering, and I will talk about that later. First, I'm going to take my chicken and I'm just going to pull it apart as much as I can. And a lot of it is coming apart. It's sort of like I'm just kind of like shredding it, but I'm also using my knife, as you can see. So I am cutting and shredding at the same time. Now, you may choose to just cut and make little cube pieces. Maybe you can buy a rotisserie chicken, which is already cooked, and skip the step and just pull it apart from the bone and remove the skin, etc. So this is what I'm doing with this chicken. I'm just roughly pulling it and slicing it because I just want chunks of this chicken for my recipe. Now there are other recipes for this and I've seen it called creamy chicken and a chipotle sauce, or a creamy chipotle sauce with a chicken. It has different names. I'm just calling it a creamy chipotle chicken. That's basically what I'm going to call it. I've seen where they have taken chicken that is on bone with skin, and they've boiled it to make a broth. So you can certainly do that. Just remove the chicken, and just remove the skin off the chicken if you want to cut some fat, and then just cook the chicken in water, and then just remove it off the bone and shred it up. And then of course remove the bone out of remove the bones and discard them, and then you have your chicken broth already made, and it's a homemade broth and it's delicious. I went ahead and I skipped that also, and I bought myself some already made chicken broth because I do like to use it a lot. So that is just a little bit of a little tip while I was cutting this up. Now I just got to finish cutting this up, and we're going to go back to our pan. All right, so we moved back to the pan. Now the pan, I had removed it from the heat. I had turned it all off, and I've now turned it back on. And this is the drippings from the chicken and some of the fat. You can remove that fat if you don't want to use it. I'm going to go ahead and leave that in there. And I'm going to add a tablespoon of butter. If you don't want to use butter, go ahead and just skip that as well. If you feel you have enough oil or fat in there, like I've decided to use it, then just leave that in there. If not, you can add a few drops, like a teaspoon or so of olive oil. Now the reason that I'm going to add olive oil or any other fat with my butter, that keeps my butter from actually burning, because I don't want this butter to get all brown and burnt. I just want it to melt in there, and this helps to pick up all these little bits at the bottom. So I'm scraping my pan just a little bit, and I'm using a wooden spoon to do that. This is a lovely non-stick pan, so you want to make sure you use something like this. All right, now that I've got my butter in there and it's all nice and hot, I'm going to go ahead and add my chopped onions. And I'm going to saute them in this heat and oil and butter for about a minute or so, just so they become a little translucent. Now, if you want your onions very translucent or very cooked, go right ahead and do so. But I like mine just, just barely, like, I guess I want to call it cracked, because they sort of crack a little bit. The sound, that is, when they're cooking, and I can smell the onion. And again, use as much onion as you want. Now, if you're going to use like a little green onion or the sweet onions, you probably don't want to saute them as I'm doing this. You probably just want to cook them a little bit and then add the rest of your ingredients, because they will burn. They're easily burned, especially the sweet onions, because the sweet onions, and when things contain more sugar, they do burn a little bit faster. Little escaped onion over there. Let's throw it back in there. By the way, I cooked some rice on this side. This is just a simple rice. It's 1 cup of rice, 2 cups of water. What I did is I sauteed the rice grains in a little bit of olive oil first to toast them up, and they become like white instead of translucent. And then I added the 2 cups of water. And what I added to that is this bouillon, which is a chicken and tomato flavor. You can use whatever seasonings you want in your rice, but I wanted to make it like a Spanish rice. And then I just covered it, lowered my temperature to low, and left it for 10 minutes to cook. And I have now opened it, and it is beautiful rice. Beautiful. So it is perfectly cooked. I've turned off my heat, and I'm going to be serving my chicken with that. Now that my onions have cooked, let me show you. They're kind of browned a little bit, and it's all nice and lovely. So now I want to add my garlic, but I'm going to lower the temperature on my stove. Okay, so I've lowered the temperature, and I had to do a lot of sneezing, so I had to kind of just close that up for my camera for a little bit. And now I'm going to throw my garlic in there and just saute it a little bit. I don't want it to burn, so just keep an eye on that. Move that around. Next, we're going to add our chicken. Add all that yummy chicken that you chopped up into there. And this is where you can also make sure that everything got well cooked. And there's a bit of sauteing. So this will just take as long as you need it. If your chicken didn't cook well, then this is where you're going to finish cooking it off. Also, this is also to warm it up, because I did put the chicken to the side after I chopped it up. Now, not a lot of time went by for me, so it didn't really cool off that much at all. So I don't really need to heat it up. So this is pretty good. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add my chipotle peppers. And I want all that sauce to come out. So I'm going to add a little bit of the chicken broth. And excuse me because I have not unsealed my chicken broth. So give me a minute or two and I'll be right back. Okay, well that didn't even take a minute. So I put some of that chicken broth in this little can so I can swirl it around and get as much of that chipotle sauce out of my can. It's almost clean, as you can see. I want as much of that sauce in there. So now I'm going to stir that around, get those beautiful flavors, and of course that little bit of chicken broth that I threw in there helps to scrape up the brown bits at the bottom of my pan, which is gold. It's a lot of flavor, so you want to make sure you scrape that up and get it mixed into your ingredients because it is delicious. Now, again, if you feel that the chicken fat that was in there is not to your liking, remove it because it will be a little bit greasy. Okay? Let me show you what my chicken is looking like. That looks so good with the chipotle in there. Okay, we have warmed up our chicken. We've added our chipotles and we're letting them cook for just a little bit. I have it on a medium to low temperature, by the way. Okay, the next thing I want to do is I want to season, so I'm going to add some fresh ground pepper. You can use already ground pepper. Use the pepper that you like to use. Use some of that in there. I'm going to add about a half a teaspoon of salt. I don't want to add a lot of salt to my food because for my own sake, of course, my health, but it's mainly for my husband's health. I'm watching out for him. But I guess if I want him to live long, I have to live long too. So I guess I have to take care of myself as well. And you're probably thinking, geez, lady, you just used a whole bunch of oil and you used a whole bunch of butter. You're talking about taking care of people. Well, you know what? This is a once in a month or maybe 2 months or 3 months that I create something like this. So you can do the same. It's okay to have a little fun. It is Saturday after all. It is the weekend. And we're having a nice little meal. I need to put some garlic powder as well as some cumin in there, so I don't want to forget. I've got my salt and my pepper, but I'm going to go ahead and add a can of tomato sauce that I mentioned at the beginning, and I'm going to add some more chicken broth. I'm going to fill up that little can with that chicken broth and just pour that right in. I want to make sure that I also season it with my garlic, as I said. And just use whatever amount you want to use. We did use fresh garlic in there, so you don't have to use more garlic in there if you don't like garlic that much. Skip one or the other. But I would put at least one of those types of garlic because it does make this all taste really delicious. So now I'm just going to mix all that in. Make sure all the seasonings get into every bit. I don't want it all just in one clump in one spot. Okay? We have one more ingredient to go, and that's our sour cream. Again, this is 8 ounces, so it's a cup of sour cream, and I'm going to add this whole bit in there. If you want to use a light sour cream, go right ahead. If you want to use a light Philadelphia cream cheese or a crema fresca, you go right ahead. Now, what I like to do is I like to follow recipes, but I end up changing a lot of things in them. So I had found this recipe, but then I changed it up because I wanted to make it my way. I wanted it to be kind of basically, not basic, but because it's basically somebody else's recipe, but I've just made it my own. I've added my own little twist, switched up a few ingredients, or just basically the way that I have handled the whole thing and the way that I have cooked it. Okay, so there we go. We've added the sour cream, and as you can see, it is now blended into there, and it is made like a liquid. So we're going to cover this, and we're going to leave it at the medium to low heat. And we're going to leave it for about 10 minutes to simmer. So if you want to put this on low now to simmer, go right ahead, or leave it medium to high, and just keep an eye on it. And it's going to take about 10 minutes to make sure everything is all well cooked and it is well blended and all the flavors have married into each other, and we have a nice, delicious chicken meal. So we'll be back in about 10 minutes. All right, so it has been about 10 minutes and I have been simmering this and I had it covered, and I've taken a look at it and I've decided, you know what, I want some more sour cream in this. And I happen to have a large tub of a 16-ounce sour cream that I purchased today just in case I was going to want some extra sour cream. And what I did is I poured half of that. So I added another 8 ounces. So if you want to make note of that, it's actually 16 ounces of a sour cream that I have used in here. Now I'm going to leave it uncovered now, because I feel that it being covered added so much steam and it didn't allow it to thicken. So I'm going to let it rest in here a few minutes and then I'm going to come back. All right, my creamy Chipotle chicken is done and it smells delicious and I can't wait to try it. I have got a plate here with some rice. You can use some rice, some spaghetti, or some noodles. Whatever you like, any pasta, or just leave it out if you wish. Maybe heat up some tortillas and make some tacos out of this. But because this is a creamy chicken, I wanted to pour it over some rice. So there we go. Get some of that creamy Chipotle sauce. Look at that. Look how beautiful that is. I'm also going to add some of my cowboy caviar. And this is a recipe that I will put up the week after I have put up the chicken, or maybe on the same week, but it will be done, well, not necessarily the same week, but just in a few days later. But it will be put on, or I will upload it after I've done the chicken. So once I've done that, I will go ahead and link both of the videos so that you can make that also if you wish. I'm going to put a little bit more because I just feel like I'm going to need that. I'm also going to add some chips, one which I just dropped, but I'm not going to worry because my doggie is here and she will take care of that. I'm adding some chips for that. Look at how beautiful that is. Let's taste that. I'm going to take a little bit of the rice with my chicken. Pick up some of this Chipotle peppers. Now, Chipotle peppers will have some heat, so this is probably not something that you want to make for the kiddos, or just put a lot less of the Chipotle than what I did. Okay, you may not want to add the whole can, but if your kids are okay with spice and they're okay with heat, then they're probably going to enjoy this. Otherwise, I'm going to suggest that you don't do this for the little ones. Let's taste this. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Maybe I'm hungry. I don't know. I was hungry before I even started cooking this. But this is delicious. I'm going to give myself a thumbs up. And there we go. That is my creamy chicken Chipotle. Or creamy Chipotle chicken. Yes. Creamy Chipotle chicken. See, I'm just so taken by the taste here that I can't even speak. I hope you enjoyed it again. Please give me a big old thumbs up. Leave a nice comment. Subscribe. And as always, enjoy.